There is a silent war unfolding within every man, a war he was never trained to fight, a war between his instincts and his consciousness, between what he desires and what he needs, between the illusions cast by the feminine and the forgotten truths buried deep in his psyche. You have been told to look for beauty, to chase after charm, to fall for softness, smiles, and the shimmer of skin. But beneath all that, there's a reality few dare to speak of. Carl Jung once said that every man carries within him the eternal image of woman, not the flesh and blood reality, but an inner, psychic projection, the anima, the feminine archetype that colors his perception and distorts his vision. Most men are not falling in love with women. They're falling in love with their own unconscious longing for wholeness. They're chasing shadows, projecting dreams onto faces that were never meant to carry them. And this is where the suffering begins. You meet her, and something inside you ignites. It feels cosmic, fated, as if the universe has conspired to bring her into your life. But pause, breathe. What you're feeling isn't love. It's your own psyche calling out for balance, for healing, for the forgotten feminine within yourself. She is not your salvation, she is your mirror. And yet you ignore this truth. You build stories in your mind, create futures that don't exist, attach your worth to her validation, until one day she pulls away. She grows cold, unavailable, distant, and you're left shattered, wondering what you did wrong, spiraling into self-doubt, questioning your masculinity, losing your center. But this collapse is necessary, because only through the breaking, through the humiliation, through the unbearable loneliness, does a man finally wake up. Jung taught that no man will ever truly see a woman for who she is, until he first meets the woman inside himself. The anima is not a person. She is a force, a psychic energy that demands integration. She appears in dreams, in fantasies, in obsessions, until the day you turn inward and face her. And this is where the journey begins. You must descend into yourself, into the shadows where your unlived emotions wait, into the forgotten corridors of your heart where longing, fear, abandonment, and rage swirl like ancient storms. This is the underworld of your psyche, the place where boyish illusions die, and the mature masculine is born. It is not enough to chase women. It is not enough to master pickup lines or play status games. If you do not confront your own psychological wounds, you will continue to attract chaos. You will fall for women who reflect your unhealed pain, women who trigger your insecurities, women who punish you for your unconsciousness. This is the dark truth every man must face. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are, and until you become conscious of your patterns, you will relive them again and again. Different faces, same story, same heartbreak, same hollow aftermath. So what is the way out? You must stop looking outward. Stop chasing distractions. Stop thinking that another woman will fix what is broken inside you. You must go inward. You must meet the anima, not as a lover, but as a guide. She will test you. She will seduce you with dreams. She will pull you into longing, into despair, into emotional chaos, until you finally stand firm and say, I see you, I know what you are, and I will no longer be ruled by you. This is individuation, the birth of a man who is no longer a slave to his projections. And when you reach this point, something remarkable happens. The women you once obsessed over begin to lose their power over you, not because you hate them, not because you reject them, but because you finally see them as they are human, imperfect, and just as lost in their own inner battles as you once were in yours. The pedestal crumbles, the illusions fade, and for the first time, you begin to perceive the feminine, not as an answer to your longing, but as a sacred reflection of the energy you've integrated within yourself. Jung spoke often of the alchemical marriage, the inner union between the masculine and the feminine within the soul. This is the deep work, this is the transformation, that no one applauds, that no social media post celebrates. This is the silent, private labor of the soul, the kind of inner death that gives birth to true life. You will cry for the boy you once were, the boy who thought love was something external, the boy who thought validation came from the eyes of another, the boy who mistook possession for intimacy and attention for affection. But as that boy dies, a man is born, and this man walks differently. He loves without clinging, he desires without chasing, he connects without losing himself, he chooses, carefully, consciously, not from loneliness, but from clarity. This man does not need a woman to feel whole. He does not see her as a prize to win or a role to fill. He meets her as one soul meets another, eye to eye, heart to heart, without illusion, without desperation. But make no mistake, getting here is not easy. You will have to face your shadow, the part of you that manipulates, that plays games, that lies just to feel important, that seduces just to avoid emptiness, that chases just to escape stillness. You will have to stand naked before your own shame, your jealousy, your fear of abandonment, your hidden anger toward the feminine that rejected you. You will have to forgive. You will have to let go. You will have to confront the terrifying possibility that no one is coming to save you. And that salvation, if it ever comes, will come from within. And this is where you reclaim your power. Because when you no longer need her, when you no longer fear her absence, when your happiness no longer depends on her approval, you become free. And freedom is magnetic, not the fake kind of attraction that wears cologne and recites clever lines, but the raw, grounded energy of a man who knows himself, a man who radiates presence, a man who has walked through the valley of his own darkness and returned with the light. And when a woman meets this man, she feels it. She senses the depth in his eyes, the steadiness in his voice, the silent strength in his heart. She knows whether she stays or leaves, he will remain centered. This is the masculine she's been unconsciously searching for, not a savior, not a servant, but a mirror of her own potential. A man who leads himself, a man who has died and been reborn. So the next time you find yourself longing for her, aching for her, obsessing over her, ask yourself, are you chasing her or are you running from yourself? Because every woman you meet, every heartbreak you suffer, every rejection you endure, is life's way of pushing you inward toward the only journey that matters, the journey back to your soul. And as this journey deepens, something ancient within you stirs. You begin to realize that every longing, every heartbreak, every sleepless night spent wondering why you weren't enough, was not a curse. It was a calling, a sacred initiation into the depths of your own being. You were never meant to find salvation. In her you were meant to use her reflection, her rejection, her absence, as fuel for your awakening. The feminine was never your enemy. She was your teacher. She appeared in your life wrapped in beauty, desire, and temptation, not to complete you, but to expose you. To show you where you lacked boundaries, to reveal where your identity was still fragile, to trigger the emotional wounds you buried as a child, to make visible the parts of you that needed healing. Every cold text, every distant glance, every goodbye that shattered you, was a divine message written in the language of your own unconscious. And until you decode it, until you sit in the raw discomfort of your own emotional storms, you will repeat the cycle. Over and over, different faces, same wound. But when you finally sit with the pain, when you stop blaming her, when you stop asking, why doesn't she want me, and instead ask, what part of me have I abandoned? That's when the transformation begins. You start to see that real strength is internal. It's the ability to sit alone on a Friday night with no one texting you back and still feel whole. It's the power to walk away from toxic patterns, even when your body aches for attention. That's the discipline to build a life so rich, so meaningful, that anyone who enters it becomes a guest, not a necessity. This is what Jung meant by individuation, the sacred process of becoming who you truly aren't, blended from projections, untethered from validation, sovereign in your essence. You stop asking the world to fill your emptiness. You start becoming the source. You create, you build, you move your body, you master your craft, you cultivate your mind, you deepen your spiritual practice, and slowly, the longing for her fades. Not because you've become numb, but because you've become full. Overflowing. Radiating. Whole. And in that fullness, the right kind of feminine energy begins to appear, not chaotic, not manipulative, not running from her own shadows, but grounded, open, receptive. She will not arrive when you are desperate. She will arrive when you no longer need her to. This is the paradox. The less you chase, the more you attract. The less you seek, the more life brings. But this path is not for the faint of heart. It requires you to confront every lie you've told yourself, that it demands that you sit in your own emotional winter, without reaching for external warmth, that it invites you to rise from your own ashes again and again. Until you no longer fear the fire, you will lose people, you will outgrow versions of yourself, you will stand alone on mountaintops where once you begged for company. And yet, from that silence, from that sacred solitude, will emerge a version of you so powerful, so clear, that no woman, no rejection, no absence will ever define you again. You are not here to chase love. You are here to become love. You are not here to win her over. You are here to win yourself back. So the next time she ignores your message, the next time she walks away, the next time life feels empty without her, smile, because this is your initiation. This is life, breaking you open, pulling you deeper, stripping you of everything false, so that only the real remains. The boy who needed her will grieve. The man who doesn't will rise. And when you rise, she will feel it. They all will, not because you became colder, but because you became free. This is the dark truth about women every man needs to know. It was never about them. It was always about you.